Hey there, and welcome to the Invest In podcast. I'm your host, Zac Hoyt, real estate investor, RV park developer, and your guide to turning adventures into cash flow. Every Thursday, we dive into the strategies, tools, and mindsets that help you invest smarter and live freer. If you enjoy the show, tap subscribe, rate us, and share it with a friend. Now, let's get into today's episode. This episode is brought to you by RVParkConsultant.com. They are your go-to experts for purchasing, funding, designing, launching, and growing RV resorts and campgrounds. With over 35 years of hands-on industry experience, they offer smart park layouts, creative financing solutions, and operational optimization strategies to help you save money and boost your profits. Ready to turn your land into a thriving hospitality destination? Visit RVParkConsultant.com. Link is in the description below. Get in here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Happy Friday. RV parks and end of the week. It's the beginning of the weekend fun. Let's do some fun with RV parks. Monica, Greg, Kevin. Oh, we just saw you for a second. We'll see you again. Jess, there you are. Liz, awesome. Sabrina, good to see you. You are new. Love that. James, good to see you back. Awesome. Devin, Aaron, Doug. All right. Here we go. Friday RV parks. You guys ready for some fun? You want to talk about RV parks? Gosh. Happy New Year. This isn't our first one after the new year. We just had one last week. Good morning, Angela. Good morning. Find the chat. Love interacting with all of you. So please, I want this to be an open forum here today. This isn't going to be just me speaking unless nobody speaks. Then it's going to be me speaking with my team, and we'll go over stuff and look to help you out and extract something from you guys. But we are looking to really serve you in this time. That's what it's about. Helping you guys out. Why do we do this? We just love helping people out. We love this asset class, RV parks. We love doing more with people. We want to get more operators, investors, and bird dogs into this in general. And we want to make lots of good friends in this community. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Awesome. So if you were here last week, you saw my lovely wife on here, Monique, and she took some time to share some powerful stuff from her background, which is an energy healer background. Real interesting trade. So yeah, that's definitely something that is fun. Yeah, it was amazing, Liz. Yeah, mindset, or as she would call it, more that energetic alignment. The intuition, all of that, it's super powerful, and it's happening whether you want it to or not. So it's good to know what's happening with that so that you can harness some of those powers and work with it as opposed against it. Think of it as this giant stream that's carving through the Rock Mountains. It's going to carve through regardless. You're not going to stop the stream, right? The river, all of that. So go get it. And darn it, yep. Monica, it will be on our YouTube. I don't know when that episode will drop, Ralph, but yes, these ones will drop. So we'll have to do something special that has her picture on there, so it shows that we have a guest on that one, because yeah, it is a different vibe when I can get my wife on here, and it's wonderful. And we did a lot of goal planning ourselves last week for the family, for the year. And now we're following up on that on a monthly basis, right? Do you guys set goals as a family, as a unit, whatever your unit is? Do you guys have meetings throughout the year to make sure that you're on par with that? We never used to have the meetings. And even when she went into this goal setting, we went to the library separately. We got babysitters, went into the library. And so it could be focused. She's like, can't we just do it in your office? I said, no way. Like, you're going to hear the kids crying in the other room. Her mind, more than my mind, is going to be in the other room thinking, oh, I should go get the kids and do that. And I'm going to be on the whiteboard going, well, what about our goals, right? And it's not going to be in alignment, right? That she knew, even when she asked the question, she knew, right? But we went to the library, we made some great goals, and then talked about meeting quarterly and just quick checkups monthly to make sure that we're on track. We gave ourselves to-dos. If anyone is in my business with me, they'll know that it is a similar way. We've got accountability, we've got quarterly meetings, annual meeting. Why don't you do that for yourselves and your family? It's really powerful stuff, and we still have some more to do with that. So some of that is homework for our first meeting, but we are also going to be meeting to go over our big ass calendar. Do you guys know about the big ass calendar in the world? Does that mean anything to any of you? Big ass calendar? I didn't make that word up. Do you guys know what that is? Hit a yes in the chat if any of you have heard of the big ass calendar or Jesse Itzler. Maybe none of you know about Jesse Itzler. His wife's pretty darn famous. He's pretty darn amazing in general. Judy knows Jesse. Love Jesse, Aaron. And Sarah. Yes, Sarah. What's Sarah's last name? Can you help me out with that, Aaron? Because I know Jesse. I don't know. Maybe Blakely. Yes, Blakely. Maybe you guys have heard of Sarah Blakely, but they're a wonderful couple. Jesse Itzler is all about like this mindset. Yeah, the Spanx. And we're out of my realm of knowledge for when we're starting to talk about this, right? That's why I'm asking you guys to please chime in on all of that. But yes, the two of them, they're very powerful. Jesse Itzler, he's the one that does a lot of Running Man. That's his brand, this competition that he does. Lots of mindset, some of those last man standing races, literally pushing yourselves to the limit of the human. Running is over 50% mental. So I would say it's not just physical, but it's that mental capability. He pushes you to the limit of all of that. And so he created this big ass calendar. It's literally, it folds out into, it fills your dining room table with this whole thing. The idea is you plan out your year, you put one giant, big, life changing event for that year on there called a misogi, Japanese concept of that. And so you've got something that defines your whole year. And then you've got a few other things that you do. There's a Kevin's rule for going out. There's something with date nights. There's something with family time. There's just some rules to make sure that we are crafting a year of not just goals that are financial and wonderful and all these different things with relationships and stuff, but experiences, memories. So you can tell these stories because what do we really remember? Do you remember what goal you had almost any year in the past? Even if you accomplished it, you're just like, all right, I accomplished that. And for me, a lot of the time it's like, all right, on to the next goal. But memories, these giant accomplishments, things that you do, they're experiences and you cannot forget them. It's just, you cannot forget them. Your mind works differently to put that story together. And so that's the idea of this big ass calendar is it puts that all out there. And so we're aligning all of that so we can have fun with the experiences and doing some fun stuff. So we've got, so what would be your misogi, your big, a big thing, your year defining goal, your year defining activity? What would be your misogi for next year? Because it's interesting. Mine isn't actually around RV parks. Yeah, Doug. Yeah, right. So Doug just Googled it. He's ordering one. How much? I don't even know how much it costs, Doug. I got it free one time, $50. Oh gosh. That's going to be a no-brainer, right? And Monique's course that she has, her monthly energetic alignment, which is everyday magic, something like that. I hate it. I'm sorry. I'm butchering it for her, but it's everyday spiritual magic, something. It's really powerful. That costs $47 right now a month, and it is powerful. There's a challenge that's going on. It just helps you every day, and it's a community and things that you can do. So like that's a really cool one as well. But yeah, this big ass calendar, it's just a cool concept to get in your life and to think about. So, what's your misogi? What would that be? Because mine is not related to real estate, which is odd because everything that I do tends to be related with real estate and RV parks. But this is the first time in a while that it is not. When I ran my first marathon, that was my misogi for the year. That was in 2010. And so it was just a defining thing that you cannot forget and you got to work up towards that year. You're working towards. It's something that's different, right? And there's tons of stories I could tell you about that. If anyone is a runner in here, holy smokes, I will relate to you. This is fun. And I'm not your typical runner. I'm 6'2", 230 pounds but every time I go out and run, it's 5 miles is my minimum. I go run. And that's just a mindset thing, right? And I did that just yesterday. A lot of time I'm pushing my two little boys, so it's a sled that I'm pushing too now. Maybe that's where the weight will help on it. But yeah, I am not your typical 160-pound runner. Looks like a gazelle. Oh, see those guys run. I'm like, that's different, right? But I'm still running at a decent click. And been doing it for a while, but I love it. It's my active meditation. Find something that's awesome for you. But yeah, my Masogi of the year, just to share that with you. And if anyone has one, I'd love to chat about that because it's tons of fun. Greg, you can always get old and unfat. That's all in your mind. PHAT, right on. But yeah, absolutely. Used to be a distance runner. It's funny. I was never a distance runner. I thought runners were crazy. They're just insane. And they are,
Up
frankly.
until my 40s.
Look at that. You don't look like you're a day past 33.
Oh
So,
Christ, I'm ready to retire.
hey, anyone can retire at 33 too,
I
right?
definitely retired the W-2.
Well, and that's even more exciting because then you're just on to more of the fun. And that's what we're leaning into is, yeah, what fun events can you plan for the year? But my Misogi for the year is going to be something that I'm starting with my wife, with her twin sister. And we're starting this Fit Daddy brand. Some of you might have heard of me talking about it. I know Ralph has at times. He's like, what is this Fit Daddy you keep talking about? But it is this fitness brand and this competition that will be nationwide that we're going to be starting all for dads to just be that so that there's a different feeling that's out there as opposed to the dad bod vibe that, gets the craze. And it's just like, oh, cool. Now there's a meme for it. So I can justify being lazy, right? It's like, that's not cool. That's not a great example for our kids and what we want to do in the world. So we're creating this Fit Daddy brand. It's going to be really exciting. Competitions in person at the RV parks that we have, just an inspiration to our kids and everything. And if you guys think like, oh no, I'm a woman, I can't be a part of this. Where is that? Get that muted. We got that. I'm a woman. I can't be a part of that. Well, that's true. And in fact, if you're a man, you can't be. I wasn't allowed to be a part of it with my buddies until I had not one, but two kids, because two kids are much more pain in the butt to find time to work out and get everything done. So they wouldn't even let me in. And then when I did get in, they were hazing me with all of that. And that's a different story. But, it's all about, we go through these trials in life to get to the things that we want. And it's worth it more when it's not easy. Right. And by the way, women, we're going to be doing a spinoff. Maybe we have to figure out what the name most resonates because we're having our planning meeting the next Saturday about it. We've been going with the Hot Mamas would be the spinoff for the women with all of that. So if you got any other ideas of what it would be, I don't know if so Fit Daddy, Fit Mama. I don't know. That's too similar, right? We want to make everyone special in their own way. But yeah, it's just aligning what we do because for me, some of the pillars in my life that are important, if you know anything about me, it is going to be real estate, it's going to be family, it is fitness, and it is mindset. Those four things are huge to me in everything that we do because they end up crossing everything else that we do and they link in and one ends up amplifying the other. So all of that to say, yes, something that is worth pursuing and achieving. It's fun when it's a journey. You might not like it when you're in it, but afterwards, when you actually get the goal, it's fun to look back and say, guess what? I had to do all these things. I had to be committed. I had to have dedication on the days that I didn't want to do these things in order to achieve this. So now this thing that I have is more special. It's more unique because there's a barrier to entry and all of that. And I went running from 2 miles max to a full marathon in less than 4 months. Why? Because I was motivating myself. I was actually going through my divorce, my separation from my first wife a long time ago in 2010. And I needed something to keep me going, keep me active, keep me moving along. And running, I found, which is crazy enough, because I still have some some little disbelief in my head to call myself a runner. But here I am, right? I'm 5 miles is my minimum. I know that every time. And it's just that drives me to go and run. I'm just not your typical build of a runner that's doing these things, but that's okay. I can still be a runner and kick the butt out of some of those lighter people. I'd be like, what is this guy doing? If we could do your gross adjusted running whatever, where it's like by weight, oh man, I would be crushing it then at that point, like speed weight multiplied together, whatever. We can just still go by time. That's fine. I'll work and crush them on time too. But anyway, if something is worth doing, it's worth going through the process, right? If it's worth doing, it's worth going through the process. So Diane got the big ass calendar. How about that, right? And I'm not normally one that swears all the time. My wife actually swears a lot more than me, but it's fun to have a big ass calendar on your wall, go through this, plan all of that because it gives you those memories. Those memories give you stories, and then your life feels rich from all of that. So it's really fun. It encourages connection with your significant other, with your kids, with yourself. So heck yeah, let's go and get some of that. So awesome. Yeah, check it out. Big ass fan too. Yeah. I mean, there are those big ass fans. You've seen those like really wide 14-foot industrial type of fans before. Sometimes they put them in cool industrial designed commercial spaces or even in some residential spaces. They're neat looking. They would slowly cut off your head, right? But they're neat looking and all of that. So awesome. All right. So that's my talk and segue from last week to today. Yeah, so definitely, Ralph, if you know when we are dropping that episode, if we can just let everyone know here, just to give them a heads up. If you know, I know we're usually a little backlogged as we put them on the podcast. By the way, if you guys don't know about the podcast, Monica was asking, hey, are we going to get a replay from last Friday when Monique came on and dropped some fun, life-changing bombs about mindset and everything? So can we let people know where's the podcast? Let's drop a link real quickly to that. And Ralph says that it's going to be dropped on Tuesday. So Tuesday, Monica, you get to see my wife. And if anyone has any questions related to her, for one, you could message her directly. We've got her contact information somewhere. I know someone popped that into the chat. And also, you could ask me, and we'll eventually get her back on. She's just now taking the kids. I don't know where they went, but it's sometimes difficult getting babysitters because we need them a lot to get things done. And babysitters are people, and people have things happen in their lives. And so yeah, even just last week, getting her here, the babysitter canceled. So we had 3 people take the place of the babysitter throughout the day to cover the shift. But we made it happen. And so we'll make it happen again. That's awesome. She loves teaching people about this. And it's crazy stuff. The mind is so powerful. The energy field around us is so powerful. Whatever you're thinking today, whether you think you can or you can't, you're absolutely right. And that's the power of it. So that's where I want to come into play and say, you can do those things. And then you might have something in your head that says, no, I can't because of this, and that. And that's where I want to ask you guys, what are your goals? How do we get you to the next step? And so anyone that wants to raise their hand just to talk about some of their goals, maybe we'll pull it back into real estate and RV parks so we can make it extremely relevant to what everyone expects to be here. But anyone wants to be just interact with me a little bit, I'd love that. Raise your hand. We can talk about some of your goals, see what is maybe holding you back, because just putting it out there into the world, it makes it easier. Sharing what the problem is that you think in your mind, what that challenge is, it makes it easier because now it's real. Now it's not this thing that this gremlin that's in the back of your head. You're pulling it to the forefront of your conscious. You're literally taking it from your subconscious that's always there, right, to your conscious mind. And now it's in your conscious mind. You bring it out here. Now you give it away. The energy moves into me. I'll be talking with you about it, right? And so moving it to me we can chat about it and we can dispel some of those things. Or even if you want to take the logic standpoint of it, we can work through some of those. We can say, hey, this is the way down that path. And not even just the one way, but like, let's give you lots of ways to try and solve something. Because I always, if there's ever a challenge, I like to ask myself, how many ways? Not can I or can't I fix this thing? Can I or can't I get around this challenge? Because that is black and white. That is not going to serve you. That is way too yes and no, because there is a yes within there. So, how many ways can we get around this and move things along? That's what's really powerful. And that's what's freeing. How many ways can I get money? How many ways can I find more RV parks? How many ways can I get this problem solved, whatever it is? And Monique is really wonderful at going in your mind and clearing up some of those things, uncovering those things that maybe are in your subconscious that you're actively trying to push back. It's because you don't want to deal with them. Because I get it. These things are tough. They're tough to deal with. So, what is it? Who wants to end up coming up and sharing with me some type of goal in real estate, some type of challenge that you have? Doug, you made it to the front. Asia, you're real quick behind there. I love that. Love that, you guys. All right. So, Doug, yeah, if you want to unmute, let's chat for a quick second. And then, Asia, you are next.
Hey, and some have probably already heard our spiel. We opened up a small RV park, just phase one, 8 spots, June 1st last year. Filled up October, hit capacity, and have bounced back and forth within a spot or two. But we are, and I knew this was going to be the hurdle, but to get funding for phase two, as phase one isn't quite profiting, but we are close within a couple $100. But as I posted earlier, me and my wife both have W-2 jobs. We're both realtors, and we have the RV park, and then actually we just purchased a commercial building next door as well. So we're remodeling it to try and rent office space and such. But our main goal is to get phase two this year, hopefully sooner than later. But the bank is working on it with the SBA. But I think may have mentioned it in here a few weeks ago that I have heard from someone else that the SBA wants more than 50% to be transients, and we're quite the opposite. And so I'm not sure how our current bank, who has our SBA loan, is going to discuss this with the SBA. And we told them we'll redo our business plan or whatever. But if you look at our previous, history, if they go into the details, it's very easily noticeable and seen that it's, mostly long-termers. So we started looking toward the private funding, and my message to you earlier about the one gentleman is I posted on, I think, Private Money Facebook page or one of those Facebook pages as how do I vet the private lenders or private money guys to see, because we've talked to 4 or 5 so far and everything will sound great. And then we get off the phone and start discussing between me and my wife. And we're like, how do we know this guy isn't just going to run away with our personal info and create, 100 credit cards and ruin our credit and slow everything down for us. But, and so I've, some of them are, join this community, but then it's like 20 grand. I'm like, well, what kind of, I know for, big time, that's not a lot to have the mentor and the network. I said, but that would be part of our down payment money if we do have to go through the bank. So I said, now if you could do a little up front and then, the rest at the end, once we have the capital raised, then I'd be okay. And of course, they didn't want to do that. So just trying to figure out how to vet the private money lenders, as not quite as easy as the banks, at least from what I've seen so far. And I did get some good feedback on the post I made, but just wanted to, I guess, see if anybody in here has some good information and or if anybody wants to fund us.
Yeah, that's a fair ask. You don't get anything by not putting out your hand, right? Or raising your hand on all of that. And so thank you, Doug, for raising your hand literally here to talk about that. So yeah, let's chat. And if anyone has any good options for this as we're walking through this, talking through this, please put it in the chat. And if you want to come up and talk about it, that's also helpful. So I want to touch on a couple things first that you mentioned. And Doug, you said you've got 8 spots now. You're looking to expand for more. What's that dollar amount that you're looking for? Essentially, let's start there.
We're engineered for 44 spots, and our phase two is 13 additional spots, and of course some infrastructure and such. But I got quotes for 375 for phase two.
Okay. So that's not bad. And yeah, it sounds like you can do that all in stages like that, or try and get something that funds that whole 44 total build out that you're looking to do. So that's, of course, an option as well. All right. So let's talk about ways of funding that, and let's talk about how do we vet some of these potential private money people, lenders, anything like that, because that's what I'm hearing that's really coming up. And no, you don't have to join any type of membership in order to get access to these people. There's lots of people to fund. Now, there's some groups that you could join to help raise capital more. And there's some private network groups that are out there. And so first, let me tell you about a kind of, call it a scam, or something that you don't necessarily need to work on. I don't know, Asia. I think everyone else can hear still, right? Or we would have said something. So yeah, got a thumbs up. Just checking for everyone. So check something on your end. Maybe it went to another speaker of yours. Um, but yeah, as far as people, red flags to watch out for. If someone gives you an interest rate that's too good to be true, like we can give you whatever $1 million in the world and it'll be at 5% interest, right? And it's like you're kind of asking for hard money, and like no prepayment penalty, no qualifications. Like if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Right. If you're looking for short-term money on stuff like that, you're looking more in that 8% on the low end, 10%, 12%, maybe you'll even pay 15% hard money in that type of range. 5%, that's for a super stabilized asset, and you're going to a bank. And even then, good luck getting that. That's not the climate right now yet. Although Trump may be helping us out by buying a few $100 billion of mortgages, helping out the residential market on things, which will help out everything. And anyway, different topics. So watch out for things that are like 5% or anything where a lender requires you to give them money in advance for something. You do not have to do that. You might have to pay an appraisal on something, and that goes to an appraisal company, but you're never going to have to pay a lender in advance. That's a red flag. So just watch out for that. Another thing, like we raise money for the RV parks that we're doing, our Hidden Beach development, as well as the 25 other RV parks that we're buying across the country. And so we're always looking to raise capital from private equity. So if anyone is interested on that, we could drop a link. We could have a conversation. You could watch our fun 7-minute video that we go over it, and you could chat with me one-on-one. Really fun, lots of opportunity, but that's not what I'm really here to say. We put that out there into the world. I'm on LinkedIn as well as all the other places. But LinkedIn, oh yeah. So there's the video if you want to watch our 7-minute pitch deck essentially on Maverik Asher Capital and our different funds that we're doing with me speaking real fast, which is nice. But we put our information out there, and I was solicited by a few people that said that we are a family office. You guys haven't heard of the word family office. It's like private equity. It's just like big money collected together that wants to invest in certain things that they have allocations for. Say we work with family offices, and we connect you. You're exactly what we would want to fund. So they're flattering. They're saying, wow, we're a good fit for all of this, right? And then they want us to book a call. Well, I was just on a call with one of my masterminds Wednesday, And there was someone else that was saying that this is a common thing that's out there where they'll get you on there. They'll say, hey, this is a great fit for us and all of that. Give us 25,000 grand, 30 grand, 35,000 grand, whatever that is. This one happened to be 35, the one that I was talking to, because they had a question before booking it. They're like, do you have 35 grand? If you did, if it was all good, would it be whatever? And I'm just like, this is the first time someone's asking about me paying. Like, that's my spidey senses were going up. But then they mentioned it on this call the other day. And what they're doing there is they're going to connect you with the family office potentially. Like, hey, you can go golfing for 35 grand, go golfing with this one family office guy. The thing is, though, that they're actually paying the family office guy to come golf. He's just thinking, sure, pay me 5 grand. I get a round of golf in, having fun. He doesn't care necessarily about what we're there for, right? So, I mean, there's a little onus on us to do that, but that's not the type of, that's, to me, that's not money that's well spent. There's good relationships that you can have with lots of people that are out there if we're talking private money or big equity that's like that. But for Doug, your case, you're just looking for 375 grand for these 13 additional sites to expand a little bit. And the things that come to my mind, and for one, I responded to you on Facebook, right? And I said, hey, let me book a call with that guy specifically to talk to him. So I did, and I'm meeting with him later today. I think it's 2:30 that we're meeting later today. Yeah, right there, 2:30. I'm meeting with him. So this is part of what it is, guys. If you are curious about someone, if they're real and you've got questions, bring them to here. We will help vet them for you. Because we're always looking for good partners. We're looking for good money in things that we're doing. And this guy looks like he is, for the most part, a broker, but he mentions the word private lender, private equity. That makes me think, and I've seen some of his posts, it makes me think he might have some ties to some private equity that's in there. He might have some fund. I'll pull the curtain out and figure out exactly what it is. So Doug, I'll let you know exactly what's going on with that, because it's always great to know other people that are in there. But yeah, so that's a possibility. Of course, the other thing that comes to my mind, since you mentioned that you had a commercial building, and I imagine you might have some other property, is whenever you're looking for funds over here, you can always cross collateralize by other real estate that you have. So you can get a loan over here on something else that's performing really well. You might have some equity in that, extract that out, use that for your development over here, and then you can refinance this development, pay that off, and then you can basically use it again. It's kind of like your own personal line of credit that you're having, right? Because it's just like, think of it, a home equity line of credit. You got equity in your home. You just happen to have other types of real estate that you can pull from. And if you don't have that, go one step further outside of that. There are other people in the world that have that, and they could partner with you. So you could get cross-collateralized stuff on their loans, and then they just want a certain type of return that's in the middle, right? So that's a solution to the problem that is outside the box of thinking of, hey, here's an asset that we have. Let's loan money on this and put a lien on this property right here. Well, sometimes they say, it's too risky. Let's also put a lien on something else. And that something else could be an equity partner that you end up having. So that's just one way of solving that. And then, of course, you could also go to the SBA and you could say, hey, these 13 additional sites, these actually, we want to turn these into short-term sites. You could try them as short-term sites until you end up booking a long-term site on them, right? That's always a possibility. You can do a pivot because you've got these 13 with the 8 that you have. These 13 would be over 50% of the whole thing that you're doing, right, of all your sites. So then it would qualify for this requirement for that additional SBA. So that's a possibility. To me, that's like, it's just a little bit more red tape. But we're thinking of all the different ways. So we've mentioned a few different ways: cross-collateralizing anything you have with somebody else, using an SBA on that. You could also get a private money person to invest in and then give them a repayment back on that. Maybe, like, there's lots of ways of structuring that deal. So there's four ways just off the cuff with all of that. Doug, what feels lightest, like, and most possible for you down that path? Which one, if you had to rank them all, which feels more possible for you?
Like I said, I know currently our bank that we got the phase one development loan with the SBA is working. But while they're figuring things out to give us an answer, we uh, we happened to go to a Pace Morby meetup in Nashville, and then kind of started following and looking into all the different ways in the creative finance world. And this is all new to both me and my wife. We've been realtors for about a decade or so, but it's been part-time realtor and then also normal financing. We're military town, so most everybody's a VA loan for the most part and such. But so we're very interested in the private money and really anything and everything at the moment to however we can get the money to get phase two. We start profiting, and the commercial building that we just bought is next door and to the campground. We live in the office, and we have to remodel it. It's been a small engine repair shop for 48 years, so it's pretty dirty. And so we're in the process of, we've already got some storage rented out within the building that first room I cleaned out and hung new lights. And so now we're just moving on from room to room. And I've got a couple people coming this weekend to look at the space to see if it will interest them. But so as far as the building and the equity and such, it's going to be a little bit until I get time to run through it all. And in the like I said, the private money space is new, so we're very interested in finding out the different options, and it seems like they're unending, and everybody has their own, I guess, thoughts on a good deal or not a good deal. Or one thing is we are not trying to give up any equity or ownership as of yet. Me and my wife built this from scratch and live in the office, which is only 750 square feet. So we're the ones suffering. We don't want to give up yet. But if that's what has to happen, and I say that we moved from living on a boat for a few years, so the 750 square feet's not killing us.
Feels huge at this point. That's
right.
fun.
It's not
That's
rocking.
fun.
We don't have the view we had, but we're getting there.
Yeah. Awesome. So, okay, cool. So I'm hearing number one option could be the bank. You're working on that at the moment, just with everything you have going on. That's great. That's
Well,
one.
I won't say that's the number one option. That's just the option in works because
Well,
we don't know
yeah.
any better, and
Well,
we haven't figured out how to vet anybody else yet.
uh, sure, sure. Yeah,
Because
but
that's
that's the
our
one that you've
fallback.
started. So for you, it's the one that feels easiest, I guess, because you've already started it, I imagine. So it feels like there's some possibility with that. So that one's going. The private lender aspect of it, yeah, you're just looking for a debt. You want a debt from someone. So what type of interest are you going to pay for that? What type of time frame, more importantly, would it take for you to put these 13 additional sites in and then refinance everything? That's what you want to know is what's that time frame so that you can get the money back to the lender, because you want to be able to promise them and be able to promise them, like, under promise and over deliver type of thing. You don't want to say like, oh, we'll get it done in 6 months, and then it turns into a lot longer than that, 12 months.
Right. And from my understanding so far, the complete and then get the history of it being cash flowing and then refinance. I guess our current thought and or hopes is to find someone, in my main reasoning for looking toward private money is for basically a large line of credit where we can expand every other year until we're fully developed, and then look to refinance with a long-term loan, whether it's with the same person or a bank or however that looks. But I know banks are wanting 2-year history. And well, we only have 7 months at the moment. So 7 great months and we're very rural North Florida, literally 2 miles from Alabama. So we're out in the farmlands, only an hour from the beach in Destin, but everybody up here, for the most part, is looking long term. We do have some snowbirds that are already planning to repeat and come back and such. So I feel we're doing good with what we have, just trying to attract someone for the next section.
Yeah. Okay. So I hear what you're saying. And either you've got some money for this portion here, and then you want some time. There's ways of refinancing people out sooner. Banks definitely want the longest amount of receipts of everything, making sure they're the most conservative of everything. Banks and credit unions, those are the options. And you would want to go local ones that really care. Destin's a beautiful area, a mile from the beach. That's wonderful. And what I'm also hearing from you, though, is that when you have these long-term tenants, are they doing it seasonal? Are they doing it monthly? Are they a year? What are they paying currently? What's their
We have
agreement?
our rental agreement set up as a monthly only. But we just ask them for, a 2 week. For the most part, we've got a couple contractors that are here for 6 months, and then a couple snowbirds that are 6 months at a time. And then we actually have, I think, three people that were friends before we opened this and they moved on site that are going to be here for years.
Okay. Well, okay. And so you know that anecdotally, but how can you turn that into some type of contract that the bank can look at? Like, here's your future stream of money that's guaranteed. And then at the same time, make it so that you can get them out, revoke their permit to stay there, right? So that they're not tenants,
Mm.
revoke their permit to stay there at any time if for some reason they do something bad. That's that balance that you want to walk, because you want those banks to say, oh, yeah, this guy, you've got lots of income that's going to be coming in the future. So that gives them that security that you're going to be able to repay that note every month. So the more that you can put your contracts towards that, for your situation, since you're telling me that it's mostly long-term people that are there, that's going to
Mm.
benefit you in the long run. So you could even getting people that want to pre put deposits on and put like down payments on these additional sites that you're going to have, that's a way that you could end up doing it too. Just putting
Mm.
something like they're agreeing in advance. That's what a lot of companies do. They'll, like, just general companies, they will go and they will get pre-orders of things, commitments from things, go to the bank and say, hey, we've got all these commitments. Give us money to go and build the thing because we got to service all of these loans that we have, these customers that we have in the future. So that's all of that helps you. You're trying to build this story out to anyone, whether it's a bank, whether it's a private lender. They need to know that they're going to be paid back with a guarantee, as much of a guarantee as you can. And nothing is guaranteed, right? Other than that they can take an asset or something back from it, but with as much certainty as possible. So just think about that when you're writing things up so that you can put that in front of any of the financing that comes your way. So bank, private lender that you put on there for debt, that's something. You could also get this partner to cross collateralize. One other place that I want you to check out is Marcus and Millichap. So, because you mentioned to me that it's pretty rural where you're at, and sometimes when we come across problem places to finance that are more rural, even the local banks will say, that's not near a metropolitan or something. There's not enough human density there. We don't like that, and you could even argue sometimes some of the things that we've come across that there is lots of population density. But regardless, Marcus and Millichap, they've got a whole bunch of different uh, tools in their tool belt, from private equity to bridge lenders to all these different things, lots of different lenders, and they're a big reputable company. So they're a decent one to fold into if you're getting stuck on some of these other ones that are there. So that can be an option, and I can end up giving you a contact there that would end up helping you out just to move along. And again, I'm going to talk to the broker that you were wondering about vetting. I'm going to talk to him this afternoon, so I'll give you the lowdown on him for the most part, from what I can just tell and feel, he feels like just a commercial broker. But there's some other words that end up popping up that there might be some possibilities outside of that. I just don't know what their taste is for development, which is essentially what you're doing. It's an expansion on something, and people, certain commercial lenders, they don't want to lend on RV parks, so you have to ask. So don't worry if you talk to a DSCR lender, a bank, anything, and they say no, we don't lend on RV parks. Don't think like, oh no, this is done. There's some people that have had to go to like 3 dozen different lenders to eventually find the right ones. And once you find these different lenders that will lend on RV parks, you're good. And then specifically finding ones that will lend in rural areas, that's a different one. So that's like, a niche upon a niche, RV park plus rural area. And then you add development. Development is its own niche. So now you're like 3 niches down of this specific thing that you're doing. Just know that it takes a specific type of lending group. So if you hear no's, don't be discouraged. It's just you need to find that specific type of lender. And again, that's one of the things that we can help you with because we've gone down these paths before and we're just about making things easy in life. We make your life easy, you make our life easy and happy. We all help each other out. It all ends up being a wonderful place. So yeah, Marcus and Millichap, they've got some creative things with there. So there's some possibilities. So hopefully that gives you some direction forward, Doug. And I'll let you know how that meeting goes with that lender later today. But cool. Destin's a nice area for sure. That's a fun one.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Asia, you're so patient. What's going on today? Happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Outstanding.
Awesome. Yeah, I haven't been on the last couple of Fridays because of the holidays and we've been visiting family and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm happy to be back on here. And I have also been thinking a lot about like my goals this year. Well, because I'm in the free creative Pace Morby group and he had posted, "What are your goals?" I'm like, I should probably actually have solid goals. That would be a good idea. So I did write them down. My goals, although I really love learning about RV parks and I want to own them someday, I think me starting out, I should start realistic. So I'm also really interested in co-living, and I've been learning a lot about that and connecting with people on that. So, and I think that's for me more realistic to start with. So my goal for this year is to, keep bird dogging. I'm RV parks and co-living. I'm focusing on those, and then also to buy a co-living property as my first one. And I also have my house that I have to finish renovating the downstairs, and I want to rent out that portion. So that's something I've put on hold for like the whole last year, but that's something I want to complete this year. So that's
awesome.
my goal. Yeah.
Those are awesome. Yeah. And so absolutely, you can be bird dogging for co-living and RV parks because it's just you're going to be doing similar types of activities. You're going to be reaching out. You're going to be on the internet. You're going to be talking to people. They're all similar activities. You don't have to go down just one of these because you're already doing the thing, which is bird dogging. You're looking. So might as well have all of that going on. That's perfectly fine. That's super cool. And yeah, I have a feeling, Asia, that we're gonna end up closing an RV park together. There's a feeling in me with that.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, those are all great goals to put down. I'd love to help you with that. Which one do you feel that you'd like us to help you with? Either one that you're most excited with or one that feels the most challenging that you need some help getting through to make it feel more realistic.
Well, the RV park bird dogging, I've been really excited about, and just all the information that you've been sharing with me. And I do definitely want to actually own RV park someday, but it does feel kind of out of reach as someone who's just beginning, if that makes sense. But I don't know if that's just like my my little mental blocks I'm putting up and all that I just have to like work through. But it's a lot of education. I mean, but that's probably the most exciting part to me. I don't know. It's but they're both exciting. I like because I've really thought last year about like just real estate investing in general and like what I would like to do with it. So like on a deeper kind of level, like my goals are to help provide affordable housing. Like I like camping, I like outdoors, and I like the outdoor hospitality, but I also like the idea of providing something really, really like useful and meaningful um to help people. So that's what I like about co-living and like even like mobile home parks, stuff like that. So I don't know. It feels challenging. They both feel equally challenging, but I feel like this is the right direction. Just being here and being consistent, meeting every Friday with you guys, and just keep one thing I'm going to start working on is actually using deal sauce to try to start making some phone calls instead of just looking on places that RV parks or other spaces that those are for sale, but trying to reach like more off market.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So let's unpack all of that because yeah, I'm hearing what you're saying. RV parks, they are exciting and you can own one. Everyone here, you guys can own an RV park and you don't have to even know what the heck to do at an RV park to own it. You don't even have to know. I mean, so you give us a lead as a Birddog on an RV park and we close it and you can end up having equity in it. There are easy possibilities for all of that and you will end up learning just by looking at what we're doing, right? And if you guys can't tell by now, I'll just tell you, I love helping people out and sharing and teaching everything. There's just Asia, just like you're saying, you want to help people out, affordable living. There's a desire for me to. It is just helping, and in how many ways then can I help them out? Sure, guy got real estate, so all right, we can help people out, affordable living, like you do it that way. RV parks, to me, it does check that box. And any RV park that is any destination or something, even if it's short term, we can always turn it into an affordable living community, plunking down a tiny home on there, and you could sell off that little lot to somebody, turn it into an HOA, and now you have some affordable living, even get people home ownership. There's so many possibilities within RV parks that it's just amazing. So yes, absolutely, that is all possible. And just as a side note about co-living, not to diss on co-living, co-living can work right now in some places. And to me, it feels, for one, it's a little trendy, like Airbnbs were trendy back in the day. Well, guess what? Airbnbs are a real pain in the butt now as laws have changed and you've got people that are underwater having issues. They can't operate as an Airbnb. I don't like that. Co-living kind of borders that because how many people are in one house? There could be some issues with that. You're chopping up houses in an interesting way. Yes, it's solving houses that are too expensive, so you're getting more money in there. But think about this. One of the reasons I don't like owning a multifamily building is because the people that are living in an apartment, they do it typically because they have to, not because they want to. Don't we all want like all the space in the world to go out back and run around naked and do whatever? No one can see us and
Yeah.
we've got all this space, right? Like, isn't that more exciting than, oh, I can hear my neighbors, they're having a fight. These ones have a dog that really sucks. The ones above me, they're doing a workout. So I hear them tromp, tromp, tromp and all of that. I got to be quiet or I'm going to get yelled at. I can't have a party here. So
Right.
the people don't really want to. So for me, I want to own something where people want to go and live there. And frankly, I want to own something that I want to live in. Right. And so that's part of my why and my vision is we're going to be traveling the world or the US, but to all these different places and living there and experiencing life in these different climates. So for me, co-living just is not in alignment. And I know that. And so I'm never going to own a co-living property. I can say that, right? And that's okay, right? We all have to know what we want to do. I've done darn near everything in real estate, but since co-living has come around, I do not have a desire for that. And Airbnb, I never owned one because I just did not like that aspect of it. It was just the control issue I didn't like. But we can Airbnb in our RV parks and we're good to go. So there's my my 2 cents on those two stances there. And as far as getting a buy and hold or renting out your place, I think those are awesome. Just yesterday, my sister-in-law closed on her first real estate property. She bought a duplex. I had the remote notary come to our house because you don't have to go to a title company to close. You can make them come to you. So why not? Right? It's more fun. We had a good time here with the kids. And we did it in this fun, creative way that extremely minimized the amount of money that was out of her pocket. And she got an amazing, I think it was like a 5.6% interest rate. And she ended up buying the duplex that she's living in right now. A little nervous about, well, everyone's nervous when they're doing anything for the first time, but really powerful stuff. And I'll end up doing a breakdown with her, even on the podcast, of all the things that we did for this. It's not even a single family, but for a residential home, because there's so many hacks that are in there. There's so many things that you guys don't even know with the lending industry, how you can shop your rates to different places to know when you're getting taken advantage. Like Doug's saying, I don't know that I can trust this one broker. Well, I'm going to tell you that even these banks and their people, they give you a rate for something. And then all of a sudden you go and say, well, I can get a better rate here. And they're like, whoa, 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 we'll give you a better rate instead. It's like, well, but I grew up with you. You went to the same high school as me. Why didn't you give me a good rate to begin with? I thought I could trust you, right? And so it's a weird situation that you just don't know unless you've been through it before. And they gave disclosure statements and they sent I made sure to ask for a disclosure statement that we were going to be signing a day in advance. They sent it to us and there's this big old change that happened. So there was hours of talking to. We'll put it on the podcast to help you guys understand some of this because lots of us touch single family real estate, whether we're living in it or whatever. And it's just some good principles to talk on. But all of those similar things, a lot of those similar things apply to anything you buy in real estate. So there's some common things, and those will be the themes I'll try and draw back to RV parks as well, is let you know this is where it's a residential issue. This is where it's a real estate issue. Like last minute changes right at closing, that's a real estate issue. I'd say about 1 in 3, there's always like at last minute, here's this thing. And you're like, what is this? And you're like, just read those 100 pages and let me know what you think, right? And it's just, it gets a little crazy. And they pull the rug out from under you. They change things about 1 in 3 with that. But anyways, going back to RV parks and calling leads. Do you guys know who here knows that we've got open office hours on Tuesday right now where we can just chat whatever? And it's usually not even me chatting. It's more, we've got Liz and Jess. Yeah, Liz, absolutely. Lots of love for you guys. Ralph chimes in his wonderful accent and his insight from around the world. And I'll chime in, but it's an opportunity to help you guys out. And one of the things that we're doing right now is we are giving away free leads and a system to call those leads, follow up on those leads, and nurturing everyone on that. Who here knows about that? Put it in the chat if you do. And if you don't, if you're like, what the heck are you talking about? Say, I want in. If you want in, and we can get you into all of that. Because right now, Judy and Nancy, absolutely. Right now, we're going to make it open to people, but there's going to be a point here very soon where we are closing that up to just the general public of people that want to get into that. Because what we really want to cultivate are people that are taking action, people that are doing the thing. And I know that, man, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And even we had 100 people that wanted to get into it, probably only 20 of those would really be taking the steps. And that's just human nature. That's the 80-20 rule, whatever. And I'm going to try and stretch that rule to get it so that, it's a 70-30 rule, but I'm never going to get all 100 people to go and do the thing that we're trying to do. And look at that. Dee knows what to do already. She's putting her name, her phone number, her email address, because I know Kevin is in here. And Kevin, this is where I'm going to tap on you to start giving people some sheets. We'll give you your Google Sheet with some leads 25 leads in there you can call. So you'll be all ready to join us. So we need your name, your email, your phone number, and then we will add you to your own Google Sheet template. Oh, and make sure you put, if you want a certain state, a state that you want to get your leads in, we're going to let you pick your state. But most importantly, it's just taking the reps, doing the things, joining us. And Asia, like you're saying, it's just, coming here every Friday. Beautiful, right? Because you're going to be in the room. You're going to be in the sphere. Your mind is going to be primed more to hear the things. You're going to see people that are doing it. You're going to have an opportunity to ask the questions. Hey, I hit this wall. I don't know what to do. What do I do in this situation? We will get you there real quickly. Right? Answering you real quickly. You spent a lot of time with Doug today, helping him with some possibilities and things. Why? Well, Doug was the first to raise his hand on all of this. And that's what it takes, is it takes raising your hand. And sometimes, right now we've got 30 people that are in here. Maybe the office hours are a little smaller and it's on a Tuesday, and maybe I'm not talking the whole time. I'll be in the back. Maybe I'll be walking on my treadmill so I can get some steps in while Liz is talking. And it's a different vibe. It's meant to be a different vibe. It's meant to be a little more open. I want all of this to be very open and inviting for you guys to ask your questions, achieve more. We don't really have any agenda for this. We've done a lot of different things in this time every Friday. Again, it's been focused on those 4 pillars of RV parks and real estate, and then mindset and fitness and family. You always hear about my family because it's important to know what your why is. And Asia, I hear you saying part of your why is helping people. And I love that. I applaud that. I share that as part of my why. Absolutely. My why is my family and helping others. And you guys are all others. Right? Although I would also say the funny thing is the way that I look at it, when I write the word family, I mean people that are close to me. And you guys are close to me right now. You're all closer and closer. And the more you're here, the more I get used to all of you and your stories. And I care. Trust me, I care, because I want us to be bopping around in these RVs together, going to these fun events, challenging you to be more physically fit. Greg, let's go run a marathon together, right? You got it. I will be right there with you. I've trained people to run marathons in the past, and it is more rewarding than when I ran my first marathon. I will tell you that 100%. So that shows me to myself, my alignment is by helping other people. I love it. I love it. Empowering people even beyond that. That's the type of help that I love. Getting them those goals, achieving. So all these people that put your name in the chat, what you'll end up happening to give you an idea of what is next is Kevin, our wonderful and amazing wizard behind the curtain, is going to give you your sheet with 25 initial leads. Make sure you check that out. It'll be a Google sheet. So he'll send that to you. You'll see that, and then you can start calling on them. Yes, Elizabeth said that there's a script that we shared. Yeah, there's a few different scripts, and in the office hours, we riff on those because it depends on your experience, how you really want to approach some of these leads. But, this is just one channel of going down for all of this and one script. Then so we went through a few different iterations of the script. Yeah, laughing at Kevin the Wizard. He is, right? Isn't it wonderful to be a wizard? So yeah, we can go over that, how to talk to these people. And for the most part, it's meant to be that you are just a new person. You can say it exactly how it is, right? You don't have to be experienced because you're not. So let's not pretend that you are. But what happens is we've got a process that once someone raises their hand that they are mildly interested in selling their property in the next 12 months, well, then we can set up a call with us, one of us, and you and that seller that's out there. And then we will be driving the boat. We're going to be driving that conversation. You won't have to say a thing, right? You don't have to say a thing in that. And in fact, I'd implore you, probably don't. Just don't. Just listen, observe, all of that. Maybe if you know some, you're good with your emotional intelligence, chime in and say some good things to the seller, right? Not too much. Talking to people is a lot of emotional intelligence, EQ. And with that, you can solve a lot of problems. You can break down barriers, and it's a super important thing. That's communication in general. But yeah, so that's what we do Tuesday. What time is this on Tuesday? Where is this? I want to drop that too because, oh, that's the other thing. Ralph, can you drop the calendar link that we have? If you guys have a Google Calendar, we finally got things into the, what century are we in right now? Are we the 21st century? We're in like the 20th century. It's nice. So we have a calendar that you can click on. You click on the link and it'll go onto your calendar. It'll be an overlay that you can drop on and off, turn on and off, that has all these different events that we do, these office hours on Tuesday, the live events on Friday. Every third Thursday of the month, we have our virtual meetup. It's at night. So if anyone is working, they can go to that. We always have a speaker and you're going to be in breakout rooms. And so there's a different vibe there. And anything else that we do, we can put it on this calendar so that you guys can see it on your calendar. And so you don't have to worry, like, where's the Zoom link for this? Organize yourself like that. We're making it easier. So I know what Ralph is dropping that right there on that. Yeah. Calendar is fantastic. And we made it so that you guys don't have to register for things anymore. You can just go to the events. We're trying to remove as much friction as we can. Office hours every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Oh, Jess, that's so kind of you. I say that because she is not in Eastern time, but any other time zone to me looks like it's Chinese. So, I mean, I'm sure you guys are kind of like that too. You live in your own worlds. We all do. But yeah, so 1 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. And we've been talking about doing more things. I mean, we've dropped the hint to you guys and that we're going to be doing more things. Yes. In the future as well. So all of that you'll get an email about as we put new things out there, but we'll also drop it on the calendar. So you'll show up and you'll see on your calendar, like, oh, what's this thing on my calendar? You're like, oh, it says RV and it says this here. Beautiful. You can choose to go to it or not. And a lot of these we put on the podcast. So definitely subscribe to that. Some of them we are not going to be putting on the podcast because I don't think we're putting our office hours on the podcast, right? That's more of a, yeah, Ralph's saying no. That's more of an unstructured time, just open to you guys. So helping solving problems. It's really applicable problems, right? Because it's stuff that you're going through right away. And we're calling sellers, we're doing role playing, lots of that is happening. But that won't make it on to the podcast. So make sure, yeah, it's a safe place. So that's also what it is, right? You don't have to worry that it's going to be anywhere else. It'll just be right there in that room. So again, we're trying to create different places for people to hang out so everyone feels comfortable, everyone can get what they want, what they need, and receiving that and participating in that takes a different environment for each of these things that we're doing, but each of these different people that you guys are. I want to respect that. So awesome. Cool. So yeah, and it's funny. Gosh, what was, I forget what the comment was that brought me to this, but I put a note down here because Liz, when you and I were talking yesterday, the day before with this broker, this RV park broker, right? We started talking
Michelle?
about this one. Yeah, Michelle. We started talking about this one RV park, and frankly, I'm getting a little disappointed because they wanted more money down than I wanted to do creatively. But then I started going into more of my spiel of this is what we're looking for. And she's like, well, send that off to us, right? Send that off to us because I went over the structure of how we protect the seller in all of this. And it's different than doing a second position promissory note. So I went through those details and she's like, I've been a broker for 30 years and a realtor. I've done all these different things. I've never heard of someone, one, protecting the seller, like a buyer protecting the seller, and two, what you're talking about right now, the structure that you're talking about in order to do that. She had never heard of that. And just so you know, I wasn't surprised. Right? Like, I'm not surprised. Realtors, I apologize to any realtors that are here, but y'all like eating vanilla ice cream. Most of the time, you're like, I don't want to deviate from vanilla ice cream. Maybe I want some chocolate syrup or whipped cream on it, but like, that's it. Don't give me any other type of ice cream. You mention any other type of ice cream, I'm going to tell my seller that this is weird ice cream. And so they just don't know a lot of times about all the flavors, or they'll find 5 more flavors and be like, wow, look at it. There's so many more. And we can put sprinkles on it too. Holy smokes. Now it's like 5 plus 5 more because it's with or without sprinkles. So that's 10 types of ice cream. No, we live in the world of creative finance. We do everything that's outside of the box. It's amazing. I really only get jazzed up when there's a deal that is creative financing. And so, because everything else is like, you want me to put how much money down? Even with my sister-in-law yesterday, she was doing whatever program, and it's a Fannie Freddie program. So she had to put 5% down on that. We came up with some creative ways where she didn't have to put 5% down. And that was very much eroded. So much so that the person that we were buying it from was, it's in probate. And that attorney called me while we're closing. And he's like, I don't think this is going to close because of this, this, and this. And I'm like, don't worry. But we had a good conversation on the phone. He went to the magistrate this morning to talk to the probate attorney, the probate magistrate, about all of that. And he's like, actually, we were able to do this. We were able to get it solved. And so it just goes to show you, like, there's so many ways of getting around things. That's why I want to do a little bit of a podcast on this, is just to share with everyone and break down some of those things that you might hear are like, this is the way you have to do it. Like, yeah, all of these things. And as I'm walking my sister-in-law through the signing, there's like a huge stack of papers. And she's like, is this all for me? I'm like, yeah, it's typically like 100 or more, right? It's only residential. So might be only like 100 pages you're going to have to go through and sign. But don't worry. I look through the closing disclosure, that's taking the most amount of time, making sure that all the numbers are right. But I'm like, most of these documents, you don't have a choice. So just sign it. So basically, this isn't an art competition. How fast can you do your signature? Sign this. That's it. Right. But still walking her through that. And I'm bopping around with the kids as the notary and her are going through all of that. But yeah, it got a little crazy in the end, but it's all going to be good. It's all going to be perfectly fine. And that's where creative finance is fun. Yeah, and you always remember those, and you're listening to, like, you always remember those creative finance deals, and you're always listening to the problems of the seller, and you're looking for a way to solve it. Right. And you're looking for your needs and your wants are on one side, you as the buyer. Right. And then the seller's needs and wants, you want to put them on the other side, because if you just ignore the seller and their thoughts, their emotions, any of that, well, then you're not going to probably get all the things that you want over here, because you're just trying to ram a square peg through a round hole, as opposed to talking to them and saying, hey, I need it to be a round hole. You're like, well, I'm a square peg. And not finding a way to shave those edges off of that square to make it round, and then just say, hey, let's put these shavings through afterwards through this hole, right? Weird analogy about pegs, but that's essentially what you're doing, is you're problem solving in a different way, thinking outside the normal box. And I love that. That's where I thrive in this world. And so that's what really gets me jazzed up. And so I'd love to teach you guys all of those things. That's why if you give us a deal that comes our way, I want you to be there with me. I want you to see it. I want you to feel the friction that's happening as we're having the friction, so that you can know, like, all right, here's what the seller was saying. Here's what Zac is saying on the other side of it. This is where it's getting fixed in the middle to make this deal move forward. That's where the magic happens. And so that's what I'm excited to share with you. But that's why you don't have to know any of these things to own an RV park with us. None of those. All you have to do Show up to our Fridays, show up to our Tuesdays, show up to the meetup, be around us, get a lead that turns into a deal. We buy it, structure it, and I'm going to love teaching you along the way all of it because I love that look, that wide-eyed look of like, oh my gosh, this is possible and it's this easy and it can be this cheap and this lucrative to get into this deal. I love teaching my little boys. It's so exciting for that. I love teaching my sister-in-law, all of that. I love teaching you guys. And absolutely, James. See you Tuesday. Love it. Thank you. Yeah. So that is what we can do. That's what we can do. And that's what we love doing. And also, so you guys know, I mean, there's things that I'm good at in life and there's things that I'm not as good at in life. My sister-in-law is amazing at training and stuff with the body and lymphatic system and all of that. She is my personal trainer. So for the next 3 months, it's going to be insane. Everything that she's tracking on me and the accountability and what we're going to be doing. I've got that. I've got my wife I'm now in her personal accountability group for energy and mindset and all of that. So I want to get my mind, my all good, my body all strong. So get my temple wonderful. And then, yeah, I'll help everyone with real estate along the way. But it's not an or in life. It's an and. When you achieve something amazing over here and you drive really hard towards something over here, it bleeds over into everything else that you're doing. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If you're lazy here, you're lackadaisical here, you say, I can put this off till tomorrow over here. It finds out that you do that with everything in life. It's no surprise, right? So drive yourself to success in one thing and it'll naturally bleed over into everything else. You'll have that desire for everything else. So I love that. Oh man, Greg, creative finance story. We've got time for a quick story. I like stories. What you got?
Well, it wasn't an RV park. I'm not there yet, but it was the last house I bought, 25 years ago.
Oh man.
And I was post-divorce, lost everything in the divorce, but saved up some money, got a 10% down payment, made an offer on a house, and I said to the broker, I said, listen, I'm going to put 10% down. I want the seller to take back 10%. And I wrote up the terms and I got an 80% mortgage. And the broker looked at me like I had four heads. And I'm like, this isn't going to fly. Isn't going to fly. And I said to him, I said, I don't want to be a jerk, but I mean, isn't your job to present it to them? He goes, I'll present it, but I'm telling you, it's not going to fly. The next day he calls me back. He goes, they took it.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
And I did a 7-year second note on the 10%, and because that the 20 that my 10 and their 10 gave me I was able to avoid PMI. So then and I did like a 7-year note with like a 3-year balloon, and I paid it off in like 13 months.
Beautiful.
Yeah, or I refinanced in like 13 months and got rid of the second and only had a first.
Congratulations, because yeah, you're seeing all those problems in front of you. The 20% hurdle, the PMI that you're going to have to pay that's just BS, insurance money that's on all of that. And even your broker that's saying you can't do this. You got to be crazy, right? And for you to push him too. Bravo.
He didn't have a creative mindset. It was just like,
no, they don't.
It's just thinking outside the box to say, here's a problem, how do I solve it? Because conventional wisdom 25 years ago, you need 20% down to avoid PMI. Well, probably the same today, but I had 10% and I said, I want to avoid PMI and I need another 10 and I don't want to wait another year and a half, 2 years to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wonderful. And all you can do is ask, right? And then sometimes you have to ask again in a different way.
Worst they can say is no or a counteroffer.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Or, and as I'm talking about this problem with the probate attorney that was last night, that he called me while we were signing the documents to close. I called him back afterwards. I guess I accidentally, like the message that he left, if I could play it, I think I deleted it. It's funny. It's like, this is like attorney blah 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 with the blah blah. He sounded like, you're normally you're talking here, you're all happy. And he's like, this is my serious voice. And he goes into that. I'm like, oh, this guy sounds like, whatever. He's like, I don't know that there's any way that this is going to close. Like, there's no way that he was saying the same thing. The attorney was saying the same thing. There's no way in light of this new agreement that was signed that this is going to close. And I guess when I was listening to his voicemail afterwards, after we signed everything, it was like on my phone. So I accidentally, as my two kids are screaming, one's happy screams, the other one's, I don't even know what type of screams they were, but I accidentally butt dialed him, and I see it like 5 seconds into the whole thing, and I hit, ooh, like, ugh, I didn't mean to call you yet. I was going to go outside away from all of this to call you. Well, I go and I call him back, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, right? It's not deep voice anymore. It's, oh, I'm so sorry. I heard that there were all these kids in the background and all this. I'm like, yeah, we're just at my house, and family's everything and blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, I've got 3 kids, they're 20 now. So instantly this person is relating to me. There's rapport that's there. And so basically, fast forward, we get into it of just, all right, this is the agreement that they made. How can we make this work, as opposed to this can't work anymore, right? It's how can we make this work? He's like, I'll go down and talk to the magistrate in the morning and we'll figure it out. And I let him know, I'm like, oh, if it helps, because you need to put this line item of $6,000 somewhere. If it helps, I haven't been paid in this whole transaction. I'm just helping my sister and the seller out for free. He's like, actually, that might help and all that. He's like, are you a realtor? I'm like, no, I'm not a licensed realtor. Not anymore. I was before I knew what being a realtor was. I was for a hot minute in New York, but no, not anymore. Just buy a lot of properties and know how things happen and this and that. And he's like, well, it might be able to work. I'm like, yeah, whatever you need. But he was on the side of, how can we get this to be solved, as opposed to this can't work. And I think him just hearing the screaming kids brought down his guard enough, the happenstance, that it was just in that moment, now things are possible. So it's that emotional relativity. If you can get to somebody else on the phone and explain that you are both humans, and we're just here to solve this problem. This isn't like my ego versus your ego. If we can work together on this, we're just, as opposed to being on opposite sides of the table, I like to think about it in my mind that I'm just like scooting over and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be on your side of the table now, right here, right? And we're just talking and we're both looking at the problem in front of us and saying, hey, how do we solve that problem? That's the mindset that I would implore you to get in when you are starting these conversations with sellers or brokers. And when I did that with Liz 2 days ago with this broker that hadn't heard about this thing and all the time, she's like, wow, yeah, well, why don't we present something to this seller, even though he wanted a certain amount down, 20%, or he was only going to carry 20% max. I'm like, well, why is that? Well, he's afraid and he wants to make sure it's go through. I hear afraid and I'm like, I got you. That's what I have to like get over, is your fear of all of this. So let me give you the best way of protecting you as a seller. And she's like, wow, I've never heard of that. And I even offered that I could do a little video explainer so that he could see me, because she very much did not want us negotiating with the seller. Of course, we said right away, no, we don't want to do that. That's what you're here for, broker. That's what you're here for. And so, but she was totally cool with us explaining it, because I also let her know, like, I don't want it to be this telephone game where I try and educate you, the broker, on something you've never heard of before. You're going to then try and educate the seller on this. The seller's then going to try and educate their attorney on what the heck is going on. So that what I said and what the attorney hears are going to be completely different. So what's the attorney going to say? He's going to say, that sounds like crap. Don't do that. I can tell you that's what it's going to be, because I've dealt with that before. So I'm going to say, I'm not going to go down that path. Let me just record a video. It'll be a short video. And they'll be able to hear me. So he'll be able to see me as the buyer, right? We're doing that extra thing. Like there's multiple levels that we're getting through at that point. And why not? And she said, sure, let's do that. Let's submit that. And then, holy smokes, you almost like felt like she was going through this Rolodex in her mind of all these other deals. She's like, oh, well, if you want to buy with, seller holding 50% or more, I've got this one down here in Florida. I've got this one over here in Louisiana. Like she's thinking, and this one, these couple here deals, they fired us as a broker, but we could go and get that again because they still have to sell it. And what you're telling me probably will solve their situation right here.
Funny, because that's what I'm been doing this morning. She sent me all these files. So I'm trying to get all the files in order so we could start underwriting these. She just sent us a bunch of parks, and it's great. It's great. So yeah.
And that's from one lead to one broker that turns into all these other possibilities that are all off market because they're not listed anymore. They're expired listings, technically.
Right.
So they have a problem that wasn't solved. So now we know they're looking for a creative solution because no one was willing to buy at their price with what was going on. And we've now have a different ice cream for them. And it could be the perfect ice cream that they never knew they wanted to eat. It'll be their favorite ice cream. Yeah. Have the kids in the video too. That's not a bad idea, Liz. Right? Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Oh, sorry. I'm just recording this video for this seller. Or he's just here cute. He's usually likes to eat this microphone. I guess he's older now. Maybe he'll just tap on it. But yeah, and Moose Tracks is wonderful ice cream, Nancy. It's wonderful ice cream. Right? Why not? And so that's the point. And it's breaking down the barriers with these brokers. It's figuring out what the true problems are that need to be solved that the sellers might not even want to disclose. But when we learn all the problems and the friction points, that's where we can really excel. I can excel. Our team can excel. You guys can all excel once you're getting comfortable with noticing problems and identifying the solutions that match up to them perfectly within that. And then even then, if, they don't want to sell how you want to sell, just reiterate how you want to buy and say, this is how I buy. This is how we're looking to buy all of them. We can do it with ease and we'll be excited to buy. We can even overpay what other people wouldn't be able to if we buy it like this. And now they're just hearing lots of words that they like to hear. So it just creates more possibilities in their mind. And that was a good call. That was a good person to talk to. That's a great example of someone who's open-minded, and for us to engage them in a way that wasn't threatening. I wasn't trying to be like, oh, you've never heard of this before? You're so dumb. Oh, what an idiot. Oh, you should really hear this, right? And that's where the emotional intelligence comes into play. You not only can't do that, you've got to go even further than that and make it so that they feel super comfortable that they're continually not going to be an idiot, because they don't want to be the telephone game to say the wrong thing later on. So I'm like, let me solve this. I'll have a video. And then what's the worst that can happen? Like Greg said, they can say no. Or they can counter, just like Greg said. And that's right. And so all of that is possible. Don't know whether that'll turn into something or not. It was just a conversation we had a couple days ago, but there certainly seemed like there's some possibilities that are there. And I know that this broker is going to feel more comfortable with us. And as there's more deals in the future, right? And once we send a video to her, she'll be like, oh, that guy looks happy in person. He sounded happy on the phone. He looks happy in person. He looks like, oh, he's got decent looking background. Visual proof for all of these things, that there's some reliability there, that there's trust there, and then everything else can just fall like dominoes. So this is what we are teaching. I want to impart on you guys. But again, you don't have to do these things. You can learn them just by being around us. So we're going to wrap this one up for today, but show up on Tuesday. Join the podcast, subscribe to that. We want you to be a part of all of this. And then hit me up. If you guys have deals that are good, send them in our way. We've got our submitted deal. I'd love to do something with you on that. And then shucks, aside from deals, like Doug was talking about, anyone that is interested in letting other people know about what we have going on to invest their money in RV parks, I'd love to have a conversation with them. It's a similar thing. They have a problem. They want a high return. They want it super secured by real estate. We're going to do it in a way that protects them like I would protect my grandma's money in something, right? That's the way that I tend to look at it. I would protect the most vulnerable person who typically gets taken advantage of on things. I had a buddy literally right before this call send me over a quote. He's like, "Can I send you over this quote from my parents? It was some plumbing work." He's just like, just to see if it's in the ballpark. And I looked at it and I'm like, no, man, it's overpriced 70 to 100% over what I would pay. And then I looked a little bit more and I'm like, this one is really overpriced when I was looking at the scope of work. Let me get you my handyman and get you a quote from all of that and just help out, right? And so that's as simple as it is. We've got lots of experience. We can see things different than you guys can, but you guys will be able to see those things in the future. That's the goal. That's where we're leaning towards. And we're all getting better every day. Iron sharpens iron. Everyone that's on my team, I love them. They've got amazing skills. We are all very unique in what we can do. And everyone, though, shares the desire to help you guys out. If they didn't, I'd say, get the hell out of here, right? But that's not the type of people that I attract towards me. I am full of love, full of helping, and I want to impart that on you. So let's go do some awesome things together. Either raise some money, talk to people about raising money. We can get you money and owning an RV park that way. Or we can get some leads and you can own an RV park that way. If you want to own your own, who's to say that you can't own it and do these other things with us? Because I always prefer and instead of or in life. It's much more abundant. It's much more exciting. So you can adopt that as well. And yeah, Mike, family is everything. So hug everyone you can in your family all the time. That's why I love seeing everyone's cameras on. It's real. You guys are real to me, and I appreciate you all being here. Can't wait to see you next Tuesday. And holy smokes, have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys on the other side. Take care. Lots of love. Let's go buy some RV parks. That's a wrap for today's episode of the Invest In podcast. I hope you picked up insights to fuel your investing journey. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave a rating and review. It helps more adventurers like you find us. For behind-the-scenes content and updates on our RV resort projects, follow @GoInvestIn on Instagram, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Want to dive even deeper? Visit MaverikAsherInvestments.com for resources and tune into next Thursday for another episode. Until then, keep investing, keep exploring, and I'll see you on the road.